think moving on here, once again, strictly ball business. This is episode 41, baby. So we've been doing this for a minute, almost a year, really.
Yeah.
And in our next topic here, we're talking about Kyrie Irving, who's been in the league for quite a long time. He hasn't played nearly a full season in years. But this offseason is the most interesting offseason really in a long time for him, because the Nets don't sound like they're eager to give him an extension, at least not a max extension, not a max long-term extension. And it sounds like this is his last year under Nike. So what's going to happen there for him? So lots of things up in the air for Kyrie after a few different moves and injuries for himself over the years. So where does he go this year if he does get traded? That's the question, because it seems like it's certainly a possibility if there's a stalemate in terms of, hey, I want to get paid a ton of money. Hey, we don't want to pay you a ton of money. Where do you think he probably ends up?
I don't think he'll get the max. I think he'll get some settlement in between. I do realistically think he's going to stay at the Nets. The Nets are going to do it. They're going to be like, refer to KD. KD's going to be like, all right, he's my friend. Come on, we'll figure something out. You don't need to give him the max. However, there are teams out there that I think would give Kyrie the max because they know how good of a player is. Maybe teams with less liberal laws like New York that are like, all right, come on, like if this ever happens again or whatever, or have a little more patience.
And if he's really like only cares about the money in that way and just getting the max dollars, like he can get it somewhere else probably. Yeah. But I'm guessing he wants the max amount of years. So I think, like, how many years do you think Brooklyn's willing to offer?
Brooklyn, I say at most, and I say 3-year at most, and that's with a team option. I think most likely he's going to get a 2-year extension or something like that, or a 2-year contract onto it. I don't think they're going to go more than 2 years.
I definitely think he's not interested in that. So I'm curious, what he would do, because getting that fourth, maybe a 5th year is really important for a guy like him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can see that, and that's why it's kind of crazy. We'll have to see. I think the Nets would obviously have to break before Kyrie. I don't think Kyrie's going to settle for anything. Kyrie, he's showing that he's stubborn and he's going to get whatever he wants, and he's going to, if he has to wait out an NBA season to do it, he will. Yeah. So I mean,
that's
good business, but
we'll see. I mean, I doubt he does that, but here we are. We're going to talk about where he could land. So where's the top destination outside of the Nets that you think he could end up on?
So I have 3, and these are the most realistic things that I could think of that Kyrie would also want to go to. I mean, there's tons of teams that could definitely make a push for him, but because of how picky he is and everything, my front runner is the Clippers. LA, I can see him wanting to go there. This is the package I have. I do have him getting sold really low because of how many games he plays, because of his personality, and all it takes is one bad thing to happen and he's not going to show up to work for a week or two, without even telling you, but he's going to expect you to understand. So I have them sending Reggie Jackson, Norman Powell, Luke Kennard, and Brandon Boston Jr. over for just Kyrie Irving. That's the package. I think that's a pretty generous package for the way he's played, only playing like 30-some games last year and 30 or 40 the year before. So I think that would make the Clippers really good. That's kind of fits the Clippers' need. They need a all-star point guard like that. What do you think?
I don't think it's enough. I think Brooklyn could probably get more from someone else, but I think it's still decent. Certainly could work.
Yeah, I do think more places would I think there are definitely better places out there that can give a better option. And I have my third one is pretty good down the road here, but I just don't know, like, I know where he wants to go is going to play a factor. And if like the Magic come up and they're like, here, we're going to give you all these people, I'm not saying the Magic would do it, but like I know he wouldn't. He's like, I'm not going to the fucking Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's teams he's like, I'm not gonna go there. Like he's like, tell the team. He will tell the team.
But I'm sure there are some small marketplaces he'd be willing to consider, or some teams that haven't played well recently that he'd be willing to consider. But there's no way he's going to Orlando, and there's no way he's going to Indiana, or I don't know where else.
OKC, I don't think he wouldn't want to go.
OKC definitely wouldn't go there.
Rockets.
San Antonio probably wouldn't go there.
Yeah.
Rockets, he definitely wouldn't go there.
So they can't be like losing, because I know he wouldn't want to go to a losing team, because there are some markets that are losing that he would. I do think.
But if he can get, if that ends up being his best spot for a max shot, and they look like they're on the come up, I could see himself convincing himself of that. Because look at the turnaround teams like the Grizzlies, the Suns, the Wolves have had recently. Like, it can happen if you get the right players around there. So I think maybe he could talk himself into a certain situation, but I don't think it's like, I think like most likely out of those teams we mentioned, it'd be like the Rockets. I think that one maybe.
Yeah, but I did think about the Hornets, but I don't like to fit next to LaMelo, and I think it would definitely start his development. I think they would rather just not leave him the way he is and not have Kyrie, rather than just let LaMelo develop. I would anyway. That's the right pick, and I think they would do the same. But the second pick, the second trade, I don't think it's likely, but this is what everyone's talking about, and this is the best trade that the Lakers can do to get Kyrie, and it's Westbrook, Reeves, and a second round pick. This is the best they can. This is actually the best they can do.
It's the most dog shit offer I've ever heard. There's no way the Nets would do that.
And that it only solidifies my point. Like, people, it's the talking point.
There have to be a pick in there too.
Yeah, I mean, probably like a first round pick. They have like very little that actually belongs to them, or is not like swapped, or is not.
They'd have to give up every unprotected pick they are able to.
Right, and which would be stupid at the age LeBron is, and the way and injuries that AD is, and it seems like I don't know.
It's just the 2027 unprotected pick that they have, if I remember correctly. So, they would definitely have to include that. But I just don't think it would be enough, anyways. I think if push came to shove, if they really did end up entertaining trades for Kyrie Irving, they could find a much better offer somewhere else.
I think it would also, they'd have to put in AD, and do the Lakers do that? Like they gave away their entire future for AD, and do you trade him for a guy who may or may not show up when it's needed? Which is, you could make an argument.
I'd rather have AD. Kyrie than AD.
Really? I'm not sure.
I'd rather have Kyrie than AD, because AD just, like, he seems to get injured every time he's on the court, basically. And if he's not injured and getting out, he's injured and he's has a nagging injury that's going to stop him from playing hard defense. Like, that's what it's been the last couple of years. And I haven't seen a lot of strong effort from AD. Whereas the moments where Kyrie has played, I mean, he's looked freaking brilliant at times recently.
Yeah, and 27 points per game last season.
Yeah, and I think he definitely is looking to prove himself next year. He's definitely going to come out strong. So I think at the very least, you've got a really excited, play hard player in Kyrie Irving to start out this season next year. And then if your team is playing well, he probably continues to try hard, hopefully. So, it's always a wildcat at that point. But I guarantee, like, first quarter of the season at least, you've got a superstar player. So I think anytime you can have a guy like that in the building, roll the dice, it's better. Anthony Davis hasn't proven to me recently that he is a superstar player.
Yeah, I mean, it would also feed into that the narrative of, like, LeBron's like, it was my team in Cavalier when we were with the Cavaliers. Now this Laker team is your team and I'm the vet. Something like that. I can see.
No, it wouldn't be like that. It would be Kyrie be coming in and it'd be like, yeah, you still my bitch. You coming back home to daddy? You fucking couldn't do it without me, huh?
That's the pessimistic side, but most likely, yeah. But all right, let me move into this last trade. So this one's actually more likely, I think. So it's Bulls with the Bulls. It's a sign and trade with Zach LaVine, Alex Caruso, Tony Bradley, Kobe White for Kyrie, Seth Curry, Cam Thomas, and a first round pick.
I like that. I definitely, when we were thinking about this topic, I thought about the Bulls as a strong destination. it looks like Zach LaVine wants a new situation, a new spot to be. So wouldn't hate that at all.
Mm-hmm. The only thing, I think it works good on both sides. The only thing is it does limit Lonzo Ball, but like if this was Lonzo Ball 2 years ago, I'd be more worried. But he's
just
shown
a role player. Like I'm not too worried. I think he can fit next to anyone.
Well, yeah. So if it was Lonzo Ball 2 years ago, I'd be really worried. But now he's shown he can catch and shoot threes, and he can play off ball. So right. I'm not too worried about it now. It does take it out of Lonzo's hands, but Lonzo is pretty good. I don't know if he's a better playmaker than Kyrie. Certainly, their dynamic is different in their playmaking style, but I do think that would make the Bulls better. Not that Kyrie. I'm not convinced Kyrie is a better player than Zach LaVine, because he hasn't been on the floor. But I do think it fills a need that they need, and they lacked a point guard because Lonzo Ball was out all season. Plus, I think Kyrie could make space and make things better for Vucevic, who really struggled. He's supposed to be their third star. And obviously, Zach LaVine put him on the Nets. Whatever, done with. good to go.
I think the Nets in this scenario where they're trading Kyrie Irving, they want to get back the closest thing to a star player as possible. And if they can bring back Zach LaVine, that's probably the best player they could hope to bring back in trade negotiations.
Yeah. Plus they get
with anyone in the league.
Yeah. Plus they get a good two defensive players like Tony Bradley and Alex Caruso, and a Kobe White that maybe he'll be something different for your team. And so Cam Thomas and Seth Curry, Bulls get shooters. You can never go wrong with shooters, and you get a first round pick back. So I like that one. But so it's definitely a storyline we said will be obviously covering a lot going into this next season.
I'm looking forward to the offseason. There's always plenty of player movement. And I think especially with how much parity we're seeing in the league with guys like LeBron and Steph and, whomever else just getting older, eventually other teams are going to get a shot at a championship. We already saw last year Booker got a shot. This year Tatum's getting a shot. Teams are going to take a swing and try to get something going. San Antonio Spurs are reportedly interested in Zach LaVine. Like that's something that would propel them, where they don't really seem like they're that type of team right now, but they pull them in, they could be that type of team.
Yo, it's Alec here with Strictly Ball Business. Make sure to subscribe and view our next video that pops up in your queue.